Hello, welcome to Management Insights. The article today was about pivot and unpivot using SQL. The platform that I'm working off of this week is Oracle 11G, and so the syntax is appropriate for Oracle. The pivot and unpivot commands are new relative to the 11G version of Oracle. And so referencing the images that I produced in the article, I start out with illustrating a table that I'm going to be using. In this case, it's in the HR module. And for simplicity, brevity, compacting these images, I've taken much of the columns and minimized them, showing you that what I'm really concerned with here is the salary column and the department column. And for the sake of organization, I left the first name column open and minimized all the rest. But for the purposes of our pivot and unpivot, the only thing I'm really concerned about is the salary and department, because in this case, what I'm going to do is sum the salaries by department. I start out with a simple pivot clause, and Figure 2 is a screen capture right off of my IDE that I'm using. And here where I'm starting out with, in the select with, as I stated, the department ID and the salary. And then referencing, of course, the HR employee table. The pivot command is quite obvious, so you see where that actually begins to work. And here I'm asking for the sum of all salaries as sal, giving it that synonym, and calling it out for the department ID by department. And here I have 11 departments listed, and I could have given them each their accurate names, but for the sake of demonstrations that wasn't important. So department number 10, I could have said the name of the department in the real company. Here I just simply gave the label of Department 10, DEPT 10. I could have just as well been production, or could have been final, or some other department name. So everything you see on that script where it has department number, that you would replace with your actual department names, so that these sums come out accurate and in human readable form for meaningful names. And then after I run the script, of course, Figure 3, the pivot clause output, shows you how this horizontally lays out on my screen. And so Department 10, total salary, $4,400 for that month. And on to the right, each department with each total beneath it. And so that's how the pivot works against our employee table. Now, in the unpivot, what I did was I took this table from Figure 3, or rather this output from Figure 3, and made it into a table. Because what I want to do is I want to churn this output around 90 degrees. And so that's what I've done here in our next figure, Figure 4, where the output from Figure 3 I used to create another table called Salaries by Department View. So in technical terms, I created a view. I'm treating it here as a table, and I use the unpivot command. And I'm calling for the amounts to be pulled by department ID. And then I list all those department IDs in my script there. And for clarity, I thought it would be nicer to add into that an order by statement, so that we can see these salary amounts in descending order. As I originally read this output, I saw them listed as my script has them listed, but when I ordered the output by the value of those total salary amounts, it became a little bit more user-friendly, useful at least. And there was, I could see my most expensive department on top of the list and the least expensive on the bottom. And of course you see that in the article in Figure 5, where whatever Department 80 is, the total salaries for that department was $304,500, with the before mentioned Department 10 at $4,400. Now keep in mind, I did not take the time to structure the amount at all. I'm just looking for straight numerical data. Naturally, if we're going to put this into a report, we'll give it the window dressing for currency, naturally. But the pivot and unpivot clauses are demonstrated there, and as you can see, they're not very complicated to use. And so you can take what I've done and match it up to your data, and just kind of compare your script to my script and run it, and you should get satisfactory results. This is a very simple script that I've done here. In the future, I can make more complicated ones and show you some more creative ways that we can use these two things. But for now, it's just the introduction of these basic commands so that you can see how to use them quickly in a simple form. So I hope this has been useful, and feel free to send me your questions and comments. I appreciate those all the time, and I thank you for continuing to send those. So on that note, I look forward to speaking to you again, and I hope you have an insightful day.